Good afternoon, children. So, we are back again with our geography class. So, we are already into our agriculture chapter. We have done the importance of agriculture in the economy. We have done the factors that control any farming type, and now we have entered into the farming practices that is carried out in India. We have already done the subsistence farming types. There are two types of subsistence farming type. One is done in a very traditional primitive way. The other one is done with some modern inputs, and it is known as intensive subsistence. So we have our primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. These two farming types are in fact carried out by the majority of the farmers of our country on a large scale. These two farming types supplies our country with the major share of food crops, different kinds of vegetables and fruits, and also fodder crops for our cattle population. So, although they are carried out in a traditional manner, although they are still dependent upon the monsoon water, although the farmers are farming on small plots of land, in spite of all these negative features in these two farming practices, we are still dependent on them for meeting our daily requirements of food. So now we will enter into the next farming category, that is commercial farming type. Now coming to the main topic, commercial farming. The most important thing related to commercial farming is trading. Trading for earning profit. So the entire production is for sale in the market. It can be the market within the country, that is interstate sale of the products, or it can be the international markets. The products are processed and shipped to international markets. So commercial, the term commercial itself indicates that the production is meant for earning profit, it is meant for earning money and for sale in the market. So when it is for sale in the market, everybody will want to maximize their profit. So high productivity is achieved through the use of modern technology as well as modern inputs. So modern technology includes use of machineries, big machineries, and the use of modern inputs like irrigation water, fertilizers, pesticides, HYV seeds, and everything that is new and applicable to these fields for increasing their productivity. But here one thing is important, that the degree of commercialization will vary from one state to another, and it depends upon the rate of consumption of a particular crop or a product in a region. If that crop is consumed locally, then that is subsistence, then it does not become commercial, it becomes subsistence. Like for example, children, in our country, the eastern part of India, mainly it survives on rice. Wheat is not a very important crop, it's rather a very minor crop in eastern part of the country, because the conditions, the climatic conditions do not suit the cultivation of wheat, and also the people do not consume wheat. Whatever consumption is there, it's on a limited scale. But in Punjab, Haryana, or in Rajasthan, wheat is the major crop which is consumed as the basic food crop. Rice is consumed very occasionally, that is sometimes only rice is consumed if there is any kind of occasion or festival or celebration at home. So rice, whatever is grown nowadays, because we have been able to increase our capacity of providing irrigation water supply. So much of research is done in the seeds, so much of modern inputs and machineries have come to use, that even the areas which are dry, they are also growing rice. But rice here is not meant for consumption in the family on a daily basis. It is consumed only on special occasion. So whatever amount is grown, that is sold in the market. So rice becomes a commercial crop for Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, whereas rice becomes a subsistence crop in the eastern part of our country, or in the southern part of the country, southeastern states. So it becomes a subsistence crop because it is consumed on a daily basis. So the degree of commercialization of any crop will depend upon the consumption of the crop. How you consume the crop, to what degree, that is important while deciding the commercialization of the crop. Now, a type of this commercial farming is plantation farming. The word plantation means that large holdings, large farm holdings, large plots of lands. Now here, in this large plots of land, it is not possible for a single person to cultivate. So, cultivation is done by engaging labor from outside. That is, the labor is the migrant labor force who goes to the farm to cultivate, and they earn a salary on a monthly basis or on a daily basis, that is on the day on which they are cultivating. Now here, a single area is cultivated with a single crop. A large area is growing only a single crop. Now this crop may occupy a long period of time. They may remain on the soil for a long period of time. For example, tea may remain in the soil, tea bushes remain on the soil for 200-300 years. Then again we have rubber trees. We have even plantation of fruit orchards, like we have banana plantation in Hajipur. We have lychee orchards, we have mango orchards, we have guava orchards, apple orchards. So there are different plantations which specializes in different varieties of crops. Even in case of spices also there are plantations, and mostly these crops require some amount of processing before they are sold in the market. Now when the crop is processed, what will happen? The crop will be sent to the industry for processing, and from the industry it goes to the market. So when there are two sets of movement, that means commercial farming requires good transportation facility. Two sets of movement. Why I said that? Because the crop moves from the farm to the industry. In the industry it is processed, and from the industry it moves to the market. So there is two sets of movement for a particular crop grown under plantation farming. Generally, the industry is closely associated with the crop, so they are located close to the fields, close to the place where the crop is grown. Now, as industry is there, we can well imagine that the crop is also grown with very good technology. So the technology is used in the farm as well as industry. So all the modern tools, modern methods, modern farming techniques are utilized in order to increase the productivity. Irrigation, transportation are a must for this type of crop, because in most of the cases the crop remains on the field for a long time. There is a good management system in this type of cultivation, which looks into the coordination and cooperation between the industries and the farms. And crops are either processed or and then sold to the market, or it is sold directly to the market. Like for example, banana needs no processing, it comes directly to the market for the consumers, whereas products like tea, coffee, rubber, cocoa, they all needs processing, and then after processing it goes to the market to be made available for the consumers, or it is shipped to long distance, even in the export trade. Now next topic is cropping pattern. Now what you mean by cropping pattern? What is the definition of cropping pattern? Now this cropping pattern is the proportion of area under different crops in different seasons. It is the area under different crops, proportion of area under different crops in different seasons. Now we all know India is a tropical country, and because of the tropical nature of the climate, we are very much lucky that we can grow a variety of crops. Different crops have their different requirements. Some crops need more temperature, whereas some crops require lesser temperatures. Some requires more rainfall, some requires lesser rainfall. So in this way, because of variety in the climatic condition in different parts of our country, we are able to grow different crops. Also the crops also have their own requirement of temperature, rainfall, humidity, and that's why we have a cropping season throughout the year. So these cropping seasons are known as Rabi, Kharif and Zaid season. Now the Rabi season is the winter season crop. So winter is generally a dry season for our country. There is of course little bit rain in the month of January in the northwestern part of the country, and in class 9 I have studied that we received some rain from the western cyclonic disturbances, that is the temperate cyclones that come from the Mediterranean Sea. So these crops, Rabi crops, are the winter season crops. They are sown in the winter season, in the early winter months, and at the beginning of summer season they are ready for harvesting. And these crops, they take the advantage of little bit of rainfall that occurs in the early growing period. That is when the crop is growing, when the plant is growing, at that time some water requirement is more, so it is supplied by the western cyclonic disturbance. So this is a very important feature of this crop. Here children, you keep in mind what type of crop we get during this season. Now wheat, we all know that the farmers celebrate by Baisakhi in the month of April, and this Baisakhi is celebrated to enjoy the richness of their harvest. So generally around 14th April we celebrate Baisakhi. So that means wheat is harvested in early April. Sometimes of course the farmers may extend it till late April, but by April and latest by early May it is harvested. So apart from wheat, we have barley, peas, you eat green peas during the winter season. Then of course you eat this gram chana, hara chana. If you remember, in the market we get hara chana in the winter season. So gram is also available. And of course mustard, sarso ka saag, if you remember children, you eat it in the winter season. So mustard also is grown during this season. So the rabi crop is the crop that is sown in the winter months, and by early summer it is ready for harvesting. The next cropping season is the Kharif season. The Kharif season is the season that takes the advantage of the rain water. Generally the crops that is grown during this time is having a more water requirement. So there are different varieties of crops. The commonest example is rice. Most of you know that the rice requires standing water in the field. Rice is a crop which is grown in the rainy season. So a huge water supply is required. Apart from this rice, we have other crops like for example we have jute, cotton, then jowar, bajra. There are different varieties, different kinds of our oil seeds are there, different varieties of our pulses are there which are grown during this time. So these crops require more water supply, and as our farmers are mostly dependent upon the rains, so the rainy season along with high temperature supports the growing of this crop. So the sowing season starts with the early rainy season. Early rain supports the cultivation or the sowing of this crop, and by the end of September they are ready to be harvested. So the entire rainy season is the growing period of this crop. The next variety of crop or the cropping season is the Zaid season. Now this Zaid season is mainly utilized for growing our vegetables and water retentive vegetables. If you remember, you will get all the different varieties of watermelon, muskmelon, even like for example gourds, bitter gourd also, as well as, although bitter gourd is not water retentive, rich gourd, that is your nenua, parval, all these vegetables come into the gourd family. So this are grown during this season. And we have of course this crop which is cropping season, which is a short growing season after the harvesting of the rabi crop and before the sowing of the kharif crop. These crops are already grown and supplied to the market. Now here we have one exception, that is our sugarcane. Our sugarcane does not have cropping season because it remains in the field for a huge length of time, almost 9 months it remains in the field, and after one crop is harvested it is again growing from the first cropping itself. So from one planting we get 3 cropping in case of sugarcane. So for sugarcane there is no season, no particular season, as they remain in the field almost throughout the year. Similarly for tea, coffee, rubber, cocoa, there is no particular season because they remain in the field for a huge length of time. West Bengal is a state that grows rice 3 times in a year. Now this state is growing rice thrice in a year, which means there are 3 cropping seasons of this rice. Not only West Bengal, Assam and Orissa also dominantly consumes rice in their daily diet, and hence this rice is known by, this cropping season of rice is known by 3 different names. One is known as Aus, the other one is Aman, the third one is Bor. Now in case of house rice, the farmers start growing rice in the summer season. If you remember children, during the summer season also there is some amount of rain, that is pre-monsoon shower. Now this pre-monsoon showers you have studied in class 9. We do not experience in Bihar much of pre-monsoon showers, but in West Bengal, Assam, Orissa, which receive more amount of rain, they receive a considerable amount of pre-monsoon shower also. So during this pre-monsoon shower, there is some amount of water supply, and so taking advantage of that, crop is sown and it is harvested in the autumn season. Autumn is your October, September, October season. It is harvested. Then comes our Aman. Aman season is the main Kharif season. It is sown in the rainy season and it is harvested in the winter months. Next is the Boro season. Boro is the season which is the winter season, and it is grown in the winter months, again taking advantage of some cyclonic disturbances, western cyclonic disturbances. And now as irrigation water is already available, so water supply is not a problem now. So in the Boro season, the crop is sown in the winter months and harvested in summer. So the Aus season takes advantage of pre-monsoon shower. Aman season takes advantage of the rainy season, and Boro takes advantage of the winter season rain, some amount, very little though, it takes advantage of some winter rain and it grows the crop. So Aus, Aman, Boro are the 3 cropping season of rice in our country. Now children, as we all know, we are busy in our evaluation work. So today I am not giving you notes. On Friday I will give you the notes of commercial farming, as well as we will also progress in the chapter. So together we will get the notes. For the time being, you all study the chapter, prepare it yourself for your exams.